Good afternoon, my brother. How are you this afternoon? Mr. Andre Monteith. I was just trying
Hi
to get it.
Vernon, how you doing?
Great to have you this
You
afternoon,
hear me
my brother.
okay?
Yes. But guess what? I called to give trouble. I'm not in that troublesome mood this afternoon, Andre. I don't know
Always,
why.
always good, always good.
Listen,
What kind of trouble you want to give?
I hear this talk about what they call it artificial intelligence. And I said to myself, I don't believe in such thing as this artificial intelligence. Intelligence can be artificial. I can understand if you make yam out of plastic or something like that, then that would be artificial yam. So I said, no, 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 no. I want to change this thing that it is not artificial intelligence, but assimilated intelligence. Because what the system does is get information from people and based upon the logics of the program, certain decisions are made and information given. I'm sure you're going to disagree with me. That is not
No, I
artificial.
definitely wouldn't disagree with you because I believe it's the same thing. But the term was coined artificial intelligence because it is an inanimate being in which we have taught to be able to to basically simulate our thought processes.
Yes. But is that artificial? It is real information.
The
And
intelligence is not artificial, but the being is artificial.
besides, I'm going to disagree with you. Let's change it. It's not artificial intelligence, it's assimilated intelligence. What goes on? We haven't changed it. It is still AI. What? So it is still AI, right? What
Right, it's
is
still AI,
still
right?
AI? What is on your mind today, my brother?
Well, a lot of things, because I mean, with all, these breakthroughs, I mean, I stumbled on a breakthrough today in which, quantum breakthrough, which they said that teleportation is real. Remember watching Star Trek and they said we used to teleport up and down all over the place.
What? No, tell me about that.
And I'm hearing now that, some guys have, basically been able to go through and, been able to prove that, their theory might be real. So, I mean, I wait to see more on that. But other than that, I really want to talk about, the brain chips, the smart pills, Elon's, their next wild ideas, all of those things. A lot of things have been happening with brain chips. Elon and his project with Neuralink, their company is trying to implant electronics into the brain. So pretty soon, I mean, well, they've had their human trials, and basically we are able to communicate directly with computers and be able to move out mouse cursor and all of that by just thinking. And if you know about that, you might also know about smart pills, which is also a thing in which you have tiny ingestible capsules with sensors on it, which be able to can track your body functions inside. It can Their plan is to use it to detect internal bleeding, monitor your digestion, and track the medication that you take in. So, I mean, these are things that are popping up and, making sure, digitizing all of data, gathering more information in the health sector, right? And, the applications of this can be, very advantageous to the human race. And, we can get a lot of information that way. But then again, we're thinking about the aspect of security, right? People getting this kind of information from people's brain waves, and how are we going to keep that very secure? Now, what came to my mind with the whole burst of
Yes.
the world going digital? You've watched the movies, and I don't know if everybody knows what an EMP is, which is an electromagnetic pulse. And basically, it's a burst of electromagnetic radiation that can knock out electronic devices. Now, this can be man-made, in which you have nuclear or those things blowing up and it creates an electromagnetic pulse, or it can be coming from the sun.
Solar
Sometimes,
flares. Yes,
yeah,
solar
solar
flares
flares,
can
for
create that.
instance, and it may hit the earth, it disrupts our GPS satellites, internet signals, the power grid, all of those things. Now, the thing is, everybody is going digital. We have these electronic cars, we have your phones and all of this stuff. And I'm thinking, we're going digital. Everybody's wanted to go digital, but has anybody ever thought of these electromagnetic forces coming in? What happens if something like that happens? How do we
I
deal with
understand that you have solar flares every now and again, which is when the sun, I'm no scientist, only have understanding that when the sun acts up and
right?
emits all these flares, it sends
Right.
off
Solar
magnet.
flares, there
Yes,
are big electromagnetic fluxes coming from the sun. The DIY person knows that they can protect themselves by creating what we call a Faraday cage, which basically blocks signals and harden certain circuits. This is
yes,
normally done with military stuff, but what does the common person do in such a situation? Does anybody think about protecting their,
yes,
even say you have solar backup and all of that, it still has electronic circuits within it. So more than likely it is still susceptible to, these solar flares or EMP bursts or anything like that.
What
Do
about
we
your hard pacer? That's what
Yeah,
it is
hard
called.
pacer. I mean, all of these in the whole integration of, these devices and human or biological inserts, I mean, do we think about that? I mean, thinking about people's when they build these things for your heart pacers, is it protected against EMPs? Those things, these are the things. Your wearables, fine, you can buy another one when this one mash up or anything. But what about protecting ourselves that way? I think it's something that we should all sit down and think about. Think about protecting, your backup situation. I mean, look at the trade-offs, as in, your digital safety, your body, everything being in the cloud. Your high tech, you have a whole heap of tech stuff in your house. And how do you protect yourself against, these EMP fluctuations? I mean, it may
Yeah,
be far and becoming, I mean, a lot of people don't think about it because, when do we have power cuts? Very rare. But I think, it's something that we should all think about. And even if we don't have an EMP by something like that, there are people that are, creating devices that can probably create these EMP interferences. So we need to think about that in going on to the future. I mean, I want to embrace the future, yes, but let's, think about, doing it the smart way in that way.
that's very interesting. And by the way, you're gonna make
Right.
another point?
Well, I don't want to, well, as I said, it's pretty much, the protection is pretty much on the military side. People
Yes,
can
yes.
investigate, creating stuff, this Faraday cage, DIY, it's pretty much just a big cage that shields
Hmm.
you. There are even tips that you can do, like if you want to protect your cell phone. I would put down a cell phone, just in case. Well, then again, who would I call if everybody else's phone not working? But you can protect your cell phone. You can protect your cell phone, by wrapping it in foil paper, and things like that. Or if you're protecting your electronic equipment, protect them in a Faraday cage, build your home built. You can research your Faraday cage, how to build one, or electrical cloud storms and those things. Those are things that are natural that can probably cause electronic interference to your digital products. And
Andre,
those,
when I
yeah.
started the program, I mentioned that we talk about the young people are very au fait with the technology.
Mhm.
But when we look at the significant amount of fake information and stories that's
Yeah.
going around, and many of these young people, they're not mature enough to have that discerning ability to know what is fake and what is not. Although we can check online.
Not even
Uh,
discerning ability. They got the information online. It's just for them to think about it. And I mean, we say it over and over again. Not
Yes.
everything that you hear or read on the internet is true.
But guess
Not-
what? These are the popular stories I mentioned this morning about the leader there of Burkina Faso, uh,
Mhm.
Ibrahim Traore.
All right.
Listen, when you look, the amount of stories and the views that these stories have been having, 300, 400, 500,000, and you know that these are false stories.
Mhm.
They
Well,
just,
sensationalism is one of the things
yes,
that drives the internet. Remember, right now we have the TikTokers, and it's all about being sensational. You'll see that people create fake fake stories, in other words, to get more views. You also have
Yes,
other things in, people who thrive on stocks and those things. You put out fake information. Get the general inference of the whole economy can be moved by these statements being put into
yes,
the
yes.
media. So you might say, okay, Emron ship blew up yesterday. These move markets. It may be a little in some places, but are not. So
Yeah,
information right now is basically wielded as a weapon.
right.
And this information is being put out there. And yes, definitely you have to.
And by the way, before I go, well, won't have much time to look at it, but it has to be blowing up over Mr. Musk
Right.
having company having signed a contract with the government to have internet in schools, especially in remote areas.
Right. I guess he's doing some damage control right now,
Yes,
based on the fact that we're talking about markets being swayed by information online.
yes,
Being that the fact that Musk before had with his joining with President Trump and all, you see what
yeah.
happened to his stock, how it swayed. So those are the things. Information out there may pushes everything. Not saying that the information he gave out a while
But
ago was
as
bad.
I said to some people, you might not like the man, but he offers a service. You have a doctor, is the only specialist in the country. You don't like him, but what you're going to do? Not go to him? No. As
Right.
far as I know, that very many companies are providing internet service via satellite. Therefore, if we can make good use of it, why not? Well, time will slip by. Just tell us how we can make contact with you, my friend. Only have a minute.
All right, no problem. You can get in touch with me at email intasol@techprojects.com. That's INTESOL at TECHPROJEX.com. Or you can telephone me at 876-849-6167.
When you want to know what's happening with the technology, you have to listen to this man, Andre Monteith. This time, same time next week. Andre, you have a wonderful afternoon. All the best, my friend.
Okay then, Vernon, take care.